Good evening, everybody. Sonny Puzikas here from Fort Honey Badger with Gospel of Violence podcast. Let us attend number 6 on this February 11th, 2025. As it is usual, I will ask some of you who are here, Mr. Doug Arnold, how you doing? Please let me know if both sound and the video are all right. Mr. DeWalt, Lance, how you doing? Gents, loud and clear from YouTube. That's good. It looks like we are also live on Rumble and Twitch and Facebook, so that is good. Sam Russell, how you doing, sir? All right, well, I'm kind of going live 2 times in 3 days with a Sunday evening live stream being with Mr. Chuck Peoples, who was here this past weekend conducting a homestead medical class. And Adam Hall, how are you doing? Benny, how are you doing, sir? Brandon, how are you doing, sir? Max, all right. So many usual suspects. Don Stinson, how are you doing, sir? So anyway, Chuck Peoples with his homestead medical class was here this weekend. It was a great class. We went over a lot of things, and those of you who have not trained with Chuck Peoples in Mike Fiore, sir, who haven't trained with Chuck Peoples prior, I cannot recommend highly enough taking his classes. I do believe that his homestead medical class is essential, absolutely essential class, regardless of your past experiences, regardless how many medical classes you've taken, and if you consider yourself pretty much a bona fide, paramedic and tactician in the sense of medical knowledge. Shinde, Uncle Guns. Again, I cannot recommend highly enough taking Chuck Peoples' class, whether it would be Homestead Medical or his Tactical Medicine class, or especially, which is not widely advertised, but Live Tissue Lab. Hello, ma'am. How you doing? He does have a Live Tissue Lab going on in Ohio the last weekend of March. It is not something that you simply sign up. You would have to contact Chuck and discuss it with him before he makes a decision whether you can take that class or not. After some conversations and having had invitations for a long time, I decided that I will probably be going to that class, both to learn and to assist a little bit with some of the things during the Live Tissue Lab. Chuck liked what I did with the knife as far as the demonstration of the edged weapon injuries on flesh. So I may contribute that, and if Lewis needs help with his component within that Live Tissue Lab, I'll assist with what I can. And my son is probably going to be going with me, and at least one of my students here from Central Texas is planning to go and attend Live Tissue Lab with Chuck in Ohio. Let's see, what else do we have? A lot of classes coming up. I will be in Ohio for a different class in a week and a half. I am teaching Fight Hacker, Sliceology, and Stability class. And that is coming up. Let me see here. There it is. You can see it on the slider at the bottom. February 22nd, 23rd in Somerset, Ohio. knife class, slaysology, and stability. Oh, Sam, you're going to be at the live teach at the end of March. Great. I'll see you there, sir. Excellent. So, if you want to learn more than few things about knife usage and dealing with knife usage, slaysology and stability is the class. Again, it's coming up February 22nd, 23rd. And again, I switched the slider at the bottom. March Madness coming up in 2025 to Fort Honey Badger. And that's going to be number of classes. March 1st, 2nd is Fight a Hacker Escapology, followed by March 5 through 9th, Fear Inoculum, which is sold out. Then March 12, 14, Bratva Gathering number 5, and that is by invitation only. And following that, March 15, 16 is Shooter Fighter Matrix, Deep Fundamentals of Shooter Dimension, with myself and Lewis and Andrew. I'm really looking forward to this collaborative class. Hey, Turtle, how you doing, sir? Uh, Very much looking forward to teach alongside Lewis and Andrew. Uh, they've been great friends. They attended few of my classes as students. Uh, I believe they are very good instructors in their own right, and I'm looking forward to teach alongside both Lewis and Andrew. Uh, the class here at Fort Honey Badger, again, that is going to be March 15th and 16th here in North Texas at Fort Honey Badger, Shooter Fighter Matrix, Deep Fundamentals of Shooter Dimension. Uh, you can go to my website, sonnypuzikas.com, and read the outline of the class. It will be a relatively free-flowing class. We do have specific topics that we will be covering, but it's also going to be, I believe, exciting, especially for the students, in a sense that it's going to be kind of like a open discussion format. So you can say that Lewis, Andrew, and myself will be discussing certain things about specifically shooting dimension within the shooter fighter matrix framework. And we may have some disagreements. We may argue about some things, and through drills and exercises, making our points. And obviously, students will be participating in all of that. Not only listening and watching, but participating in the drills and doing all the things and testing out for themselves, seeing which approach does what does it offer, how does it work. Nick Engelin, as far as online distance learning possibilities, send me a message. I see you are watching from Facebook. Send me a message on Facebook and I'll let you know what you can do, sir. All right. One of them would be subscribing to Gospel of Violence podcast. I will be starting certain things happening on Patreon, but that's going to be mainly focused on physical conditioning and strength training. But as far as other topics, your best bet probably would be to become a club member at Gospel of Violence podcast. Our highest tier club, which is 350 Club, is sold out. We still have plenty of spots in 250 Club. So you can go to my website and check it out. And as I said, send me a message through Facebook and we shall chat. All right. Let's move on, shall we? And we stepping into Sonny's reading room. And this week's book that I wanted to showcase, so to speak, is no other than A Perfect Union of Contrary Things. And this is the book written by Sarah Jensen with Maynard. Those of you who know, and if you don't, you should fix that. Maynard is the man, the legend, the myth, who is the singer and in many ways brain behind such outfits as the Pussifer, the Perfect Circle, and of course, Tool. And those of you who know me, those of you who train with me, you know that I am. Again, I really dislike the word fan, but I very much admire the musical talent and what these three bands, and especially Tool, have put on the scene in the past decades. Since then, since they graced musical scene. Sonny joining the toast to Fort Bragg. Yeah, I read that the name has been changed back to Fort Bragg from Fort Liberty. So anyway, Perfect Union of Contrary Things, written by Sarah Jensen with Maynard James Keenan. Very interesting book. Obviously, being someone who appreciates and loves the music coming from the three bands that Maynard is a part of, I wanted the book. I wanted to read it, and it is a satisfying book. It kind of gives history of Maynard from the very beginning of his life, being born in the Midwest, on through his school years. A lot of stories, a lot of pretty funny things. Also explains quite a bit about how, as a man, as an artist, as a musician, Maynard has evolved. Again, it's a very captivating read. There are a few pictures in there, Maynard in his younger years, and family pictures, and Maynard in military, and on and on. So those of you who want something that's not, uber philosophical, not super heavy where you read 2 pages and you have a headache, I would highly, and especially if you like the music that these dudes produce, I would highly recommend A Perfect Union of Contrary Things, written by Sarah Jensen and Maynard. Again, it is quite sizable book. I believe it's just short of 300 pages. As I did mention prior, it has quite a few pages of there with different pictures of Maynard and doing his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And again, those of you who don't know much about Maynard, he's the man of many faces. Besides, obviously, the biggest contribution, as far as the public contribution, is his music. Maynard is a very accomplished Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner and teacher. He does have his own school in Arizona. Maynard is successful. His wineries. Oh, it just showed me that connection was lost, but I hope I'm back. Is everything good, guys? Let me know if both audio and video on all platforms is good and acceptable. Let me check here on my shit. Let's see here. Just give me a second, double checking to make sure that we are live. Okay, it looks like we are still live on Facebook at least, and seems like Rumble and YouTube is also going. Derek, how you doing? Long time no see, right? Okay, so it was just a quick stumble for a second. All right, so much about the Sunny's Reading Corner. Again, Perfect Union of Contrary Things. It's a book about life up to a certain point of Maynard, who's the singer for Tool, Perfect Circle, and Pussifer. Highly recommend it. Very interesting, exciting read, captivating read. A lot of interesting facts, especially if you are interested to know how the dude, the artist, the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu practitioner and teacher, the winemaker, successful businessman, a father, a husband, how he evolved. So that is that for Sonny's Reading Corner. And now, tip of the week, conditioning. So let's talk a little bit. Very often in classes or through social media, while interacting with people, I hear this thing that, well, my job and my life is such that I work in the office, whether it would be IT work or something else along those lines, or some supervisory position of something. And I basically sit on my ass all day, and I have no chances to go to the gym to pick up some weights. I really don't even have much opportunity to drop and do some push-ups or squats or leg raises or whatnot. And a lot of time people, it is an excuse. It truly is an excuse. You can be sitting on your ass, and every day while you're sitting on your ass, you can do quite a bit. Quite a bit. It doesn't mean that you pick up the kettlebell and you're doing presses here with a kettlebell. It doesn't mean that you connect some kind of cables behind you and you do that. Although if you have opportunity, you can absolutely do that as well. It really is as simple as doing dynamic resistance exercises. You may be reading some kind of report, you may be going over some kind of an online document or whatever else it is that you're doing while you're sitting on your behind. Okay, but it really isn't that hard to place one arm on top of the other. Okay, and with the bottom hand start pressing upwards, while with the opposite hand pressing downwards, providing resistance. You can do it progressively pressing and changing the directions. You can do it this way, you can do it forward, back, you can do it from above here and doing helicopter like movements. There's so many ways to work. You can resist raising your elbow, and then with your elbow resist this hand pressing it down. People go like, well, what is the bitch voice or boss voice? That's nice, Mr. Cooper. That's good. 55 years old, so we are about the same age. Very nice. Again, you can ask the questions, what is the application of such exercises or whatnot? Well, think about it. If you're resisting your elbow raise, is this something that can happen in the fight? Is this something that can be useful? Okay. If you're pressing outwards here, okay, are you conditioning your connective tissues and muscle for back elbow? Okay. If you're resisting here, are you conditioning something for moves like that? Absolutely. It does not take much effort. It does not take a great innovative mind to come up with all kinds of things. You can do the same with your legs under your desk. Resist with one leg while providing dynamic, some kind of a stimuli to move the other in a certain direction. In a There was probably a little glitch again because I received another notification. We have a pretty heavy rains going on here in East Ohio today. Mr. Harrigan, how you doing? Long time no see, about a few days. How was your trip to Oklahoma? So, again, please don't use that as an excuse that you have to sit on your ass for so long and you don't have opportunities to work out. Every day you're sitting on your ass, you can absolutely positively do a lot of good, a lot of different exercises without any equipment and without really even raising any eyebrows in the workplace. It can be done relatively discreetly. You're sitting there and you provide dynamic resistance. You change the angles and you provide dynamic resistance. This way, that way, significant amount of muscle groups, significant amount of connective tissue, and involving them in a specific sequencing, different angles, different levels of resistance, and you can get quite a workout. I can guarantee you that. I sit here in the office quite a bit, and I do these kind of things. For one, sitting makes you stiff and you get lazy, and it's great. It really is a good way to keep yourself, to maintain your mobility, to maintain yourself in some kind of a looser state where you don't get really, bad posture from constantly sitting. And doing those exercises doesn't take but minutes. Uncle Guns, I agree. I agree with you, and especially if those 5 push-ups and 5 squats are quality and slow, that is significant. Each hour, 5 quality slow push-ups, 5 quality slow squats, whatever else you can incorporate in there, and do it daily without excuses. That is significant leap forward from a lot of dudes that will sit on their ass and use that as an excuse that I don't have an opportunity, I don't have a chance. Stop fucking whining. You don't even have to get off your ass. If you have to sit on your ass, as I demonstrated, just a few little things, you can do plenty. You can do plenty. Again, in this context, I will be working and putting out quite a bit of material, and it will be available. Some snippets of it will be available publicly. Other things will go my subscribers and club members on Gospel of Violence patrons on Patreon page. So keep an eye open for that because it is coming. Let's see here. Let's move on, shall we? And that would be another tip of the week. And this time, it's about our health. And as you can see at the scrolling thing at the bottom, this week's health tip of the week is about refined sugar. Know thy enemy. I am guilty. I do have a sweet tooth. I do like sweet treats. I do enjoy a freaking chocolate cookie. I do enjoy a little, cranberry orange muffin. I do enjoy some coffee cake or whatnot. And, when you those things from a large chain stores and supermarkets and all that, Mr. Hollaby, how you doing? And when you look at what kind of ingredients, and even more so, what kind and the amount of poisons and things that are certainly not good for you is in those products, in those little sweet, good tasting treats, it's kind of depressing. As far as all the things within and what we consume, what we put in our mouth, into our stomach, and eventually, hopefully, it comes out the other end. Refined sugar, I would quite put as a enemy number. Some people will say it's genetically engineered this and the Monsanto stuff in this or whatnot. Refined sugar, specifically refined sugar. Just because it says that it's sugar, people seem to think that it's just pure, product that comes from a sugar cane. Otherwise it's sometimes called as a white sugar, table sugar, or whatnot. Far from it. Part of it may be a cane sugar, but a lot of that stuff comes from corn, from sugar beets, and other things. The process of refinement itself, okay, you can certainly make a little effort and dig down this rabbit hole, and it is scary, it is depressing, and it's certainly something I would suggest. It's not going to take you but an hour or two to read enough and find out enough about it that it should be motivating factor for you to probably start, Hey, Chuck, how you doing? Did you make it home, Chuck? Um, Refined sugar is definitely enemy. Uh, you know, there are studies that lately they're not as suppressed as they used to be for many, many years, you know. But a lot of medical professionals that are not necessarily slaves to the pharmaceutical mafia and the system, nevertheless being good doctors, they call dementia or Alzheimer's disease a type 3 diabetes. I want you to think about it. Dementia being type 3 diabetes. That should put a pause in all of our desire to satisfy our sweet tooth with a shitty products that contain a lot of refined sugar. Now, a lot of food companies now they they get quite innovative, and refined sugar may come under different names. Again, do a little bit of self education, do a little bit of reading, whether again it's Google or anything else or whatever you're going to use to access that information. But it is easily accessible. Those of you who have done any kind of time doing the keto diet or a carnivore diet, uh, because those diets, if you truly follow it, they do harp pretty heavily on excluding refined sugars from your diet. You will know very well that once you cut out refined sugars from your diet, you do feel as a completely different human being. Uh, Refined sugars, they feed significantly into any kind of inflammations that you may have in your body. I'm not saying that they are exclusive one cause for those inflammations happening, but they feed into it significantly. Cancerous cells, their number one food is sugar. You know, when you, even for short time, when you, even if not 100%, but very significantly reduce the intake of refined sugars, things like people say, the brain fog, the sluggishness, being like feeling kind of like tired, those within a relatively short period of time. And, I'm not some kind of certified professional, uh, but I will highly recommend when you have time, instead of watching what happened at Super Bowl and what's going on between Drake and Lamar due to the halftime show performance or whatever, spend some time researching what refined sugar is, what it does, what dangers it causes, and once you find out, decision time, and it's going to be time to exercise will. Refined sugar is extremely addictive to some of us. I found myself walking around the house feeling the same way. Just to well, the kitchen will be a good sequel to the forge. No, man, I'm not gonna do any kind of kitchen DVDs. I can promise you that. I can talk about it, but again, for one, I'm not an expert, and I don't play one on TV. It's just that in the last few years, me and Megan took a little bit of a dive down some rabbit holes as far as what's in our foods and what certain ingredients do, what are they comprised of, and how are they manufactured, produced, and brought to the shelves. And that was actually probably the big part why we made quite a significant change, not only in our diet, but in all of our moves as far as purchasing products, purchasing raw ingredients, where we get it from, and such. And it did make a difference. It did make significant difference. So, as you can see in the comments here, Derek and Chuck are exchanging messages, pleasantries about the class that Chuck taught here this past weekend. And as I said, it was a great class. Those of you, let me put things up here. There you go. That way you can see. If you don't know who Chuck Peoples and Homestead Medical, who these entities are, you should change that. Homesteadmedical.us is Chuck's website. I am a former paramedic. I practiced paramedicine as a firefighter. I rode for a number of years in the back of the ambulance. I was both lead and not lead paramedic. Participated in a number of things from CPRs to intubations to heart attacks to severe injuries, caused by accidents and weapons and violence. And I can tell you that I've been through a lot of medical training, both as a paramedic and prior to a certain degree when I was in military, and after I participated and observed and took part in a lot of different courses that had tactical medicine as part of the curriculum. And I can tell you without any shadow of a doubt that Chuck from Homestead Medical is a top tier instructor in this field. It's his Homestead Medical course is absolute must. Absolute must. So that's our health tip of the week. Sugar. Amen, Adam. Amen indeed. Training topic of the week. And what I want to talk about, guys, is number of people, quite a few people sending me messages and they go like, could you put like a specific workout regimen for me? What should I do every day and such and such and such? Listen, guys. So I'm kind of going to go a little bit on the rant here. By all means, take notes. I'm not necessarily going to give you a definitive blueprint, but I'm going to give you some suggestions to look for. Okay. For I'm happy. I am pleased that more people asking these questions. No matter how you look at it, regardless of the kind of weapon you carry or what caliber are your rounds in your magazines or what other gear you have, violence and unpleasant things of that nature always involves physicality. There is no escaping that fact. Violence is physical. Not just physical, obviously. There is a, psychological dimension and emotional dimension and many other things within that process. But nevertheless, its final expression, how it functions, is through physical actions once it gets to it. And over the years, reading a lot of things where people would argue about topics as such. They let's say discussing some kind of a world famous athlete in one of the fighting sports. Let's take boxing. So they would discuss current heavyweight boxing champion Usyk, and he's Ukrainian. or they would discuss former champion in a different weight category, right? And he was also Ukrainian, and everybody would talk about his ability to move. And then people would post some video clips of these guys getting involved in activities that seemingly have nothing to do with boxing, right? One of them was doing quite a bit of different dancing, the other one is doing other things. And if you look back over the years, if you look at training of Conor McGregor, as much as I dislike his attitude, but at the top of his game, he was training with Ido Portal, which again is a separate topic to discuss where that material came from. But it's basically a culture of movement. And you saw Conor McGregor being pushed and moving his shoulders, which to some of you will seem familiar, and training a lot of what I would classify as general athleticism, not just specifically fight oriented, specialized athleticism and strength and physical conditioning, but general athleticism. And here's my observation after over 2 decades of teaching people. Majority of American men, and I will go as far as to say that regardless of the generation, whether they're boomers, whether they're Xers, whether they're millennials, whatever the case might be, absolute majority of American men significantly lack in general athleticism. Significantly. Some of them have specific athleticism. Some of them have conditioning geared towards specific activities, but absolute majority of dudes lack general athleticism. And hold on, let me see here. Oh, Chuck is sipping on some honey badger coffee. Awesome, Chuck. Hope you enjoy it, brother. So you were driving while cursing Sonny. Okay, well, at least your drive was not boring, brother. So that's good. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you, Chuck. Uh, so how can we work on general athleticism, right? It does not. Now, granted, if you have time and opportunity, if you have kids, especially sons, that want to do some kind of sports, get involved with it, whether it's basketball or football or baseball or hockey or tennis or whatever. Get involved. Tennis is great for general athleticism. I'll tell you another activity that's exceptionally good for general athleticism: swimming. Swimming is exceptionally great activity for general athleticism. So if you have opportunity a couple times a week or even once a week to if you have a pool in your own backyard, or if you have pool, maybe you go to the gym, or if you travel a lot and your hotel has that, okay, dedicate 15, 20, 30 minutes to swimming. It will really help you greatly in developing some of that general athleticism that will transcend from one activity to another. It's not specific athleticism for additional, for some very specific activity. A root cause, Don, I don't know the root cause. Well, I guess root cause would be that just overall our life has become so comfortable, so sedentary, that we spend so much time sitting on our ass doing nothing. And if we do something, our athleticism ends with going to the gym and lifting weights and looking at ourselves in the mirror, right? When you look at the gyms, right, like even like big gyms, right, they have obviously weightlifting and and muscle building equipment and all that stuff, but they also have some kind of facilities to do handball or racquetball. They have facilities to play basketball. And you look at the ratio of dudes between those who lift weights and adore themselves in the mirror with their 2 sizes too small shirts and sometimes some shit injected into their bloodstream to make stuff grow faster, right? Versus the number of men involved with things like playing racquetball or swimming or handball or basketball. Uh, it kind of gives you an indication. Okay, most dudes, if they do some kind of a workout, they will say it is for strength. Not necessary. It is mainly for ego. It is mainly for repetitions and weight lifted to have certain bragging rights to compare it to others. Weightlifting will not make you athletic in general sense. It will give you certain. Yes, Bart Stewart, I did say, how you doing, brother? Chris Prenovos, how you doing, sir? I'm assuming you are well and back in Arizona. So, general athleticism, and can you develop it at home? Yes, you absolutely can develop it to a certain degree at home. That will involve a little bit more than just doing push ups, squats, leg raises, sit ups. It will involve some more movement. It will more involve some more innovative approach in connecting certain exercises in certain chains and sequences in order for you to gain that general athleticism and culture of movement. Uh, Again, relatively shortly here, after I'm completely done and everything is finished and I'm shipping out the book and a couple other small projects here, and with March Madness coming up to for the Honey Badger, and you can see what March Madness entails on the clicker on the scroll pay on the scroll line at the bottom of your screens. After that, I'll start a pretty big project on filming some good material on helping folks to understand how to get on the path of becoming generally athletic at home without having to go to the gym. It will not involve that much of equipment. I do have some thoughts about that, but this is something that I'm going to keep under wraps for now. God willing, if everything goes well, it will become a pretty damn big project. I will go to say somewhat revolutionary when it comes to workout programs for general athleticism, and that involves specific equipment, which I'm working on as far as, you know, drawings and things of that nature. But again, it's too early for me to talk about it, and we'll get to it when we get to it. Bart Stewart, and thanks to you, have, have modified entire training regimen for the records. Cool. Yeah, Tom Hollaby, let me know when you reach that 350 bench press, and I would love to see you ragdolling me. We'll put it on the video, good sir. I tell you what, why don't you get to 375? How about 400? I'm pretty sure then it will not be a problem whatsoever. You know, coming back to that one gentleman, which, as I said, I don't want to make fun of him or ragdolling him in social media realm here. But when this dude posted something in the comments that he can bench press 350 and posted a video of himself and that he's 350 and he would absolutely ragdoll my old Russian ass and all that. It's interesting because I don't think that dude realized that when I was lifting weights, okay, uh, I was bench pressing 340. My squat was over 450. My bench press, my deadlift was in the low fours. It would have gone higher than that, but I did pop my hamstring, in the process of the bench pressing, of the deadlifting. So it's interesting when dude starts talking numbers, thinking that he has this very unique ability that other people have not experienced, and I kind of go like, okay. I mean, so anyway, and I don't know what my bench press max would be right now. I'm guessing somewhere in the mid 200s, probably, maybe 260, 270. I don't know. I really don't care. But anyway, oh, you just noticed my sweatshirt? Love thy neighbor. That's right. I'm just pimping a pink sweatshirt with love thy neighbor. Um, it's it comes from our coffee shop here, neighbors coffee shop here in Jacksonville. So in the spirit of supporting local businesses, and I figured this is going to be something cool to wear when I'm teaching some uber violent stuff like knife or whatnot. How to stab people in the eyeball. Love thy neighbor would be just a great something to wear, to kind of balance out my violent actions and attitude with a loving message. Right, Tom? All right. So again, for general athleticism, something that I would pay most attention to is consistency. Do try to do something almost, if not truly, on daily basis. In one of my previous episodes of Let Us Attend, I discussed about, don't rush to get out of bed when you wake up in the morning. Spend 3 minutes waking up your joints, move stuff around. Let your joints get back into function, into realignment, because you may have slept in some weird, uncomfortable position. You may be stiff due to many things, not just your posture as you sleep. You may have had too much sugar for the past 30 years in your life. You may have other issues. You may have pre-existing conditions, injuries, and on and on and on. You may have a lot of inflammation in your body going without even being aware of it. And that obviously changes the quality of how your joints feel, and your connective tissue is stiff and your muscles are not quite functional and not full elasticity when you wake up. So spend some time stretching, drop into some push-ups, drop into some leg raises, and then somewhere during the day do other things towards the general athleticism. Spiders, go into a rolls, front roll, back roll, change directions as you're moving, lower yourself, walk into half duck, walk into full duck, spinning duck, backwards duck. These are all things that develop general athleticism because they involve full body involvement. If you can go swimming, go swimming. If you want to get involved with, at least to some degree, participating in some sports with your children, especially your sons or whatnot, get involved, do it. There you go. Good advice. Stay hydrated, drink water. That's right. Derek, it depends. I like most people, at least partially. I will be putting out significant amount of video materials to both Gospel of Violence podcast and for my patrons on Patreon. Coming up here in the next 2 to 3 months, there's going to be steady stream of things being dumped on the web for you to take a look at, and I hope you'll get something out of it. So, if you have questions, by all means, send me messages or ask here while we're still on live, and I will try to address them as I see them. YouTube unsubbed me from all notifications of you. That's interesting. Well, Go back to my channel, I guess, maybe unfollow and then subscribe again, and then look at your settings and then see if you can get those notifications again. Because I doubt it has anything to do with my channel. It probably has to do something with yours. As far as us getting any of that 939, I wouldn't worry about it for right now. I don't see that. As far as getting it from the source from Mother Russia, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Anything is possible, but we shall see. Tom Hollaby, Book of the Week was A Perfect Union of Contrary Things by Sarah Jensen with Maynard James Keenan. From the picture, you can probably recognize who that dude is. It is a book about Maynard, who's obviously singer of Tool, Perfect Circle, and Pussifer, which, is my favorite music besides the Russian church music. And it's a great book. It's a great read. So that was the book of the week. All right, let's move on. Richard told me, yeah, that's interesting description. Somo, as far as your question, what's your favorite AK maker, or who would you go to for an AK right now? If money is not an issue and you are in the United States, there are two dudes that I recommend very highly. I am not paid spokesperson. I did not get their guns for free. I'm not doing any kind of paid advertisement for those dudes. One of them is Jim Fuller of Fuller Phoenix. He's the OG of AK craft as far as making AKs and fine tuning AKs and customizing AKs in the United States. I've known Jim for 20 plus years. We met in Arizona. Jim at that point has not even started Rifle Dynamics yet. He was building his AKs in his garage in Las Vegas. And that's where we first met. He came to one of my classes. And Jim has been a friend since. He works with different people now. None of that matters to me because, for one, Jim still makes quality product. Jim is a grandmaster of AK manufacturing in United States, and he is second to none. The second dude is Brian Keeney, and Occam Defense is the company. Coincidentally and ironically, Brian is from Moscow, Idaho. Funny enough, right? Moscow, Idaho. Brian Keeney makes amazing product. Brian and Jim are, you can say, colleagues, although they don't work together. But Brian credits Jim with a lot of things for what he knows about AKs. Brian literally is a rocket scientist. Literally. The dude, I believe, has worked for NASA at some point. Very sharp brain, very detail oriented, makes a good product. Again, neither one of them is cheap. I don't know what is their wait times, what is their availability, but if you're determined enough and you have cash, contact those guys. Tell them that Sonny Puzikas said that they should help you. I'm not saying it will work. I'm not saying it will be, your ace that you drop and everything, and they push everyone out of line, and you're gonna get moved up the line, and 2 weeks later you're gonna have your magic AK. I'm not saying any of that, but talk to them nice. You can mention me, and see if you can get their product. Jim is not getting any younger. Jim is not a young fella, and the life is such, man. One day we're here, and next day we are not. So again, between Jim Fuller of Fuller Phoenix and Brian Keeney of Occam Defense, you have two extremely solid, extremely reputable choices. So I hope that answers that question. Mauser, will you be trying to get Evan to do some class your place? Hero to hero radio operator class here and other radio classes. But here's the problem with that. My facility here at Fort Honey Badger has a limited indoor space. And for Evan's classes, I would like to get, to schedule it early. And I would like to have at least, probably because of logistics involved and all that, 14 to 20 people for the class. Right at this time, I really don't have ability to sit that many people here at my facility under the roof, because a lot of his teaching is classroom material. So I will look at different options. I will talk to Evan. I've known Evan for years. Great guy. His class is a second to none. So many of my friends have taken his classes and spoken to Evan numerous times. I absolutely love to have his class here, but we'll see how things work out. Cool, Bart. Yeah, I know that Brian is not that far from Spoke, so that's cool. All right, let's move on to the next little block, and that's the block of current events. And as you can see in the scroller at the bottom is talking about judicial branch of our government, which is becoming quite dictatorial in the way it has been acting for the past couple of weeks. And then I'm going to very quickly discuss the can there be any reconciliation between the right and the left, if that's the two, defining, so to speak, positions we're going to use, although they're not quite accurate, but that's a separate discussion. And we're going to talk about a little bit Elon Musk and Department of Government Efficiency. So first, let's start with the judiciary dictatorship. What I mean by judiciary dictatorship. It's interesting how Democrat Party and their senators and Congress people and different organizations, how they went about a lot of number of executive orders that Orange Man Bad has signed in the Oval Office. And then it's interesting to track which orders they went after. Just as exciting to see which judges they went to. A lot of them are somewhere there in Rhode Island or Maryland or Connecticut or those areas. Most of them are appointees from either Clinton or Obama or some Biden era. They put stays, they put all kinds of things on a number of orders that Trump has issued. And now there is a discussion about White House not complying with those orders. It's such a separate and long discussion about constitutionality of such and separation of powers and on and on. We're not going to get involved with it simply due to lack of time. But what we are seeing is activist judges being deployed into full frontal against the executive branch. And to some degree, it is troubling. I really don't foresee much of an issue because eventually most of it, if it's not resolved by higher courts, it's going to go all the way to Supreme Court. And maybe not all of it, and maybe it's not in entirety. I believe that executive branch will have a restoration, or at least codified restoration by judicial branch, by U.S. Supreme Court, of their exclusive right to do things that executive branch does. Because these activist judges basically are like, I'm a judge, I'm a god, so here, I'm going to stop you. I think some of those judges need to be stopped. Quite a few of them. Because a lot of people talking about, the abuse of power by legislative branch, by executive branch, but it seems like there's not enough talk about the abuse of power exercised by judiciary within this country. And that's something that needs to be addressed. Derek, are you asking me how I feel about 223 as opposed to 762 by 39? Uh, Different caliber for a little bit different purpose. Uh, they they both do pretty decent job against the flesh. Get the right ammunition, get the right tools. Caliber is really not the most important thing. Uh, People are successfully unalived, whether it's 223 or 762 around the world. So as far as that goes, I really don't dwell much on it. For me, my choices are such that because 223 or 556 for that matter, being a prevalent caliber in this country as far as intermediate cartridges for the rifles, I certainly have that. I do love the 545 caliber. Access to that ammunition is significantly limited now. So there is some limitations to 762 by 39. And obviously being an AK man, I possess AKs in both 545 and 762. I do not have an AK in 223. Mr. Flores, how you doing? Roger, long time no see. So let's continue on after the whole judiciary dictatorship rant. Let me address something that I've been kind of mulling about for the past few weeks about possible reconciliation between the right and the left here in the U.S. Since the election day, I willfully went celibate, so to speak, or declared self-imposed Sabbath as far as bashing the left and making fun of people on the left, going after progressives, pointing out the true insanity of some of what some of them say and what they propagate and what they push. And I almost got to the point where I was proud of myself because I exercised such a restraint since early November. So that's November, December, January, now we're in February. Damn, 3 months of restraint. Richard, those 40 rounders are doing good. You know, I tested one of them really quickly, fired a few rounds, seems to function all right. I have so many of the AK magazines that it's, they seem to be made all right. I haven't pushed them yet. I haven't put them through any kind of hard tests or whatnot, but I do have few AK classes coming up, one of them in Kentucky, one of them in Pennsylvania. So maybe I'll put them through some grinding work. We shall see. We shall see how they do under pressure. And I think I'm gonna unilaterally declare the end of my celibacy, of my Sabbath, from nice and not saying things and not sometimes mocking shit that some of the people say. Because I'm looking what they are railing against, what the gnashing of teeth is about, and my patience is wearing thin. So I may start saying some unsavory things, less than sensitive things. about some of these individuals and some of the issues that they bring up. I will not per se start tonight, okay? But I'm just hereby officially declare that 3 months of being that have different political views, political is concerned, I declare my 3 months of being nice, they are over. I am no longer going to be nice. I'm not saying I'm going to be a total ass, but I'm saying that I will be direct and I will not self censor too much. I watch some of my, I see on social media some of my old friends who are way, way off to the left. Shit that they post, shit that they say, shit that they whine and cry about. I'm like, you know what? Screw you guys. You need to hear some harsh words, and you will. And you will. So that is coming. I know some of you are entertained when I get on my rants and the language I use and all that. So that part is back. Entertainment, political entertainment is coming back. I may do some separate lives strictly on some of those issues and topics. We shall see. My focus will still remain mainly on training and preparing for violence and things of that nature. But every now and then, I just may. I just may. And last but not least, let's talk about Elon Musk and Department of Government Efficiency. I find it freaking hilarious how after he went after USAID, you said, and exposed partially for the absolute stupidity and corruption with 30 to 50 billion of US taxpayers' money. How that's been used not only as CIA's slush fund, but an absolute money laundering scheme with money going to special interests, to families, businesses, to donors, to things connected to donors and influencers on certain issues. And so many people on the left go like, Elon Musk, he's the president, why he has a right to see all that stuff? And I go like, you weren't against IRS going and trying to see all the tax returns of Donald Trump, right? Because you wanted to see that he's corrupt, that he's stealing something. With all present, with so much proof being of USAID being absolute slush fund and absolute hotbed of fucking corruption and stealing and laundering money, you don't want to see that, right? You don't want to see what's being done with, by the way, it's not just my money, it's fucking your money too. It makes me question. It makes me question your general intelligence. And I do firmly believe that those who are ideologically possessed, ideological possession is that thing that kills general intelligence, even in people that do possess to a certain degree general intelligence. And some people on the left, they may possess or have possessed in the past certain degree of general intelligence. But when you start talking shit like that and you don't like that Dodge, or as you say, Elon Musk has access to these records and they can see what's being done with 50 billion of US taxpayers' money, here's my response to you. We should absolutely see that. It should be absolutely exposed to a full exposure. Zero limitations. What's being done with our money? To what means they are being used, those billions of dollars? Who's behind it? Who benefits? We should know. And I'm hoping it's going to do the same with Pentagon, even more so considering the amount of money going there. to the extent of $900 billion, approaching a trillion of US taxpayers' money going to that hole. And I hope once, and God willing, RFK is confirmed, a lot of shit can be flushed out from there with health services, human health services, and, all of those little organizations. And hopefully things can be flushed out what good Dr. Fauci has done with money and people related to him, including his wife. You can do a little bit digging, see where she worked and how that connects. So, yeah. Uh, and I hope they dig out and expose to all of without any restrictions all thievery, all the bullshit, all the stealing, misusing, misappropriating, laundering of stolen money, what has been done in our name, but without our consent. We should know that. And once we know it, and I believe by now we know enough, we should be very, very, very angry. And it's justified. So good luck to Elon Musk and Dodge and all of the young fellas working there and going and sifting through all the records. That is correct, someone. That is a treason. And I believe hundreds, if not thousands of people should be brought to justice due to treason they have committed, because it's treason. Straight up 100% treason. So that's so much about current events. And let me go to one last part. Product Spotlight of the Week. Product Spotlight of the Week is a friend of mine from the great state of Florida. And go big balls, yeah. They say they worried about data that Elon could steal. I don't believe Elon is necessarily going, like his biggest motivating factor to make another $400 billion. Looking at the way Elon lives and what he does, I don't believe he's that interested in buying 3 other yachts and 4 planes. Butch, how you doing, my brother? I don't believe Elon is motivated to buy 16 different properties around the world, including one in Ukraine, one in, I don't know, somewhere else in Gaza after we take over. I don't believe Elon is motivated by that. So I don't believe that we should have fear that Elon will have access to some kind of information. I'm actually much more worried that IRS has access to that information. ATF has access to that information. Corrupt FBI has all of the access to that information. That worries me a lot more than Dodge or Elon acquiring access to some of that information as it relates to our government misusing funds stolen from us. I have a lot less problem with that. Oh, cool, Chuck. I'm glad you're enjoying that body spray for my dear wife. I will certainly tell Megan that you said so, and maybe my wife is even watching. Those of you who are not aware, yes, my wife is making a body spray, clean, organic. It does smell good. Let me find the ticker here so I can plug it right there. 47 MAGA Orange body spray for men, made at For the Honey Badger, available on my website. Go get it. Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate that. DB Cooper, it's such an easy target, George Soros. Is he participating in it actively? Is he a fairly big player? Yes. Is he the main culprit? No. He's part of a much bigger picture. but obviously he's the name we know. He deserves all the hate and all the, you know, all the shit that we say about him 100%, but problems don't end with George Soros. There's a lot more to it. So there's that. Anyway, let me get back to my friend, dear friend from Florida. He owns a company called UW Gear. You can find the website at uwgearinc.com. He makes a number of products, but I want to highlight this one product right here. And it's basically a little thing, and I keep a couple of them by the side of my bed. And that little thing, what it fits in there is a tourniquet, or you can put other medical gear, and it even has a little thing on here that depicts that it's for medical. And then it has two little pouches for magazines. He makes them specifically, like this one is for a 545 AK magazines. And I have another one here, and this one is for 762 AK magazines. Okay, I love this setup because it has a shoulder thing, so you can throw it over your shoulder, and then it has a little strap that can go around your waist. Even if you sleep like most of us Europeans do naked and you free bowling, you hear the bump in the night, you grab your rifle, you have your belt with the pistol magazines, medical gear, you throw this over your shoulder, and free bowling or not, you can go and address that bump in the night. It is well made, it is reasonably priced. You will have to go to the website, uwgearinc.com, see what he has available, if he even takes new orders, because he's a one man shop pretty much. And sometimes he's overwhelmed with orders, and sometimes he closes the order books. I don't know what the status is right now, but the quality is great. Again, it is priced reasonably, and I like his stuff. It's simple, it's not over engineered, but it is made well. It's robust. It is made in the USA, again, in the great state of Florida, and I highly recommend this gear. So, again, go to the website, uwgearinc.com, check it out. Good quality stuff. He has vests. He has few other things, but these are the things that I wanted specifically to highlight in our product spotlight. Yeah, I don't know what effect it would have if some stupid schmuck decides to show up on my property at night and create a bump in the night, and I run out free bowling with my gear and my AK. I don't know if anyone would have a chance to ask that poor soul what is his last impression. But that's not about that. As I said, it's a nice, convenient, easy to grab, makes sense kind of piece of gear that doesn't take a fucking dresser room and two assistants to put on. It's quick. It holds two magazines plus a tourniquet. It's essential. On the waist strap, you can add things. You can add maybe a pouch with a couple of pistol magazines, like I have a knife on there. You can add additional medical gear if you want to. So it gives you some flexibility. And as I said, what I really like about it that it's robust. It has good closure. The magazines will not fall out because of the way the flaps close. And it is simple. It is very quick and easy to grab and hit the ground running. So that is the main reason why I recommend these specific products. All right, if anybody has any questions, please shoot your questions. Of course, I already did a little plug for another product, which is my wife's side hustle. And she is working on the body spray for ladies. Hopefully, we'll have it very, very soon. Uh, I'm waiting to hear back Roger, as far as the Ukraine stuff, I do want to talk to you. Let me know, send me a message when would be a good time to call because I know we had a little back and forth during one of my live feeds, and I would love to talk to you. Not just about Ukraine, I haven't seen you in so many years, so that would be good to reconnect and hear your voice again. But yeah, please send me a message when and how it would be a good way to contact you and we can talk. All right, y'all. I appreciate you being here for our sixth installation of Let Us Attend. Thank you so much. We will be back. I'm trying to think. Yes, I will be back next Tuesday because I will be departing to Ohio on Wednesday. So, yes, I will do the live stream next Tuesday, which I believe is going to be the 18th of February. I see, Rich. I just read your account about on the February 8th what happened. Okay. Defective collage, as far as the future of AK in America, I really don't see a problem. It absolutely has a future. Uh, it's a bump on the road. You know, there's a lot of developments going on. There's a lot of companies working on things. Uh, as far as the kits and all that stuff, you know, realize that majority of kits that were available, they were not coming from Russia to begin with. Uh, I do believe that AK has a future here in the United States. Uh, Again, between ammo shortages and all that stuff, I understand why people feel that way. But yeah, I'm certainly keeping my AKs. And if you want to get rid of yours, especially the good quality AKs and your AK ammunition, whatever you have remaining, just give me a call, buddy. I'll help you out. Nick Engelin, the name of the book was A Perfect Union of Contrary Things by Sarah Jensen and Maynard James Keenan. A Perfect Union of Contrary Things. All right, y'all. Appreciate you being here and joining our sixth installation of Let Us Attend from Gospel of Violence podcast. I'm Sonny Puzikas, coming live to you from the woods of East Texas on this rainy evening. Doug Holiday, too much information. You'll have yourself a great night. You'll have yourself a great rest of the week. And I'll hope I'll see you next week on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Blake Hood asking, hey, Sonny, when you will be coming back to Tennessee? I don't know yet, sir. I did have some discussions today with people behind the Self Reliance Festival. I may be back in October for the next Self Reliance Festival there. As far as training in Tennessee, I don't have nothing planned as of right now. I will be close to Tennessee in Kentucky in May, and I'll be teaching there an AK seminar. You can look it up and find it on my website. All right, y'all. Running on overtime. It's 8:55 p.m. here in East Texas. Peace. May God bless. Out.